Tools for Teachers podcast, where each week we talk about a free piece or two of technology that you can use in your classroom. I'm your host, Shannon Martin. I'm a middle school teacher, technology coach, and personalized learning coordinator for my district.
And I'm her husband, Fuzz.
Hello.
Hello. How are you?
How's it going?
I'm well. How are you doing?
It's very January-ish.
It is. Here we have snow on the ground.
It snowed yesterday.
It did.
But it's warmish, so you can plow and the roads are clear.
It's 35 degrees warmish.
Yeah. So depending on where you're listening, for some of you that's cold, and for some of you,
For some of you, 60 is cold. 35 here is like 5 degrees away from shorts weather for me.
like shorts and a hoodie. And it's pleasant still to walk outside. So you have like the pretty snow to look at, but like the sidewalks are clear by the end of the day.
Yeah.
So it's not so
like
bad.
I took the pup for a mile-long walk this morning.
You did this morning, yes, and I took her for an evening walk today.
And her paws were caked with snow when I got back. But now our sidewalk is like bone dry. So
yeah, there you go. So when I take her for a walk tomorrow morning, hopefully we'll be.
Oh yes, that's right. Tomorrow's this evening is my sleep-in time. Once a week, I get a day to sleep in,
and I take
and I appreciate it greatly.
So, our new pup also doesn't snore like the old pup did.
No,
the old pup did.
No, our new pup doesn't sleep at all.
No, she doesn't. There's like snoring dog media,
no snoring
and the pup
she just
doesn't
lays
snore.
there with her eyes open,
staring at us.
She's not barking constantly.
No.
So.
We'd love to get her recorded on the podcast at some point, but
I'd love to get the part where, because her name's Rue, and when she first wakes up, she does. I'm not going to jinx it, but when you wake up in the morning and you grab her out of her crate, when she yawns, she goes Rue, and it's the cutest thing ever because it sounds like she's saying her name.
Mm-hmm. We're so focused on schoolwork this week. All right,
I should write a story about her.
You could.
I could do a creative writing project about Rue.
We have a tech tool for that.
What? You don't say.
Creative writing tech tools.
Oh my
week.
goodness! Who would have thought?
So, episode 78 with all of our prep here is all about creative writing tools.
78's a good number.
Is that a football number from high school, too?
No, it's the year I was born.
That, too. So, we are talking about creative writing tools this week, and I have two of them. I actually stuck to the description that I talk about at the beginning of every podcast, where it's a piece of tech tool or two.
Yes.
We're doing 2 instead of 7.
Wow.
Or 5 or
that makes
25.
my Sunday night easier because that means I don't have to do as much programming into the website.
So, the tech tools, actually, the reason why I'm only talking about 2 tech tools is because the one tool has so many tools in it that
one tool has 40 minutes worth of content.
Pretty much. So, creative writing tools. With all of us doing what we do and teaching being kind of wonky for everybody this year, I know some schools are starting to go back face-to-face. I've been face-to-face the whole time. We're always looking for like new and fun ways to keep our students engaged. And there's some creative writing units that are coming up with the language arts teachers at my school.
Yep.
And so I've been kind of digging around and finding some resources for them. And there's some cool things I started playing around with, so I figured I should share these with everybody. So our first tool, it's like a collection of tools. So this is like, hey, I'm going to teach a creative writing unit. You go to this website, and then, hey, there's like
everything you need is there.
Every day there's a new thing to do. So it's called languageisAvirus.com. Which you pointed out may not be the best
perhaps
name for a
when they
website
named this, that was fun, and then a pandemic hit, and maybe not anymore.
So, but it's catchy, and you'll remember it. So, languageisAvirus.com is the website, and it's kind of cool because it starts with like every day on the page, the web page, is a writing prompt. It's like a writing prompt for January 17th, 2021. It's like they have a writing prompt that comes every day there's a new one. And if you don't like that one, you click a little red button and it says generate new prompt, and it gives you another one. Describe an event that made you very happy. So it's cool. There's a daily writing prompt on there every single day. And then if you scroll down, like they have all kinds of cool pieces of work from classic writers. They also have new stuff. I'll go through some of the tools, but I want to read the description on the very bottom of their homepage.
Okay.
It says like languagesofvirus.com exists to cure writer's block and inspire creativity. You can choose from a multitude of writing games, gizmos, generators, writing prompts and exercises, tips, experiments, and manifestos from infamous avant-garde writers and how-to articles on fiction, writing, and poetry. Like, it has everything you possibly could need.
Yeah.
Which is fantastic. So across the top of the website, in towards the right hand side, there's games, exercises, techniques, and then poetry. So if you just click on the games, it's not going to be your usual like here's vocab floating around. Yeah. It's not actually like playing games. It's manipulating text in various different formats. So they have like word medley, and then they give you the directions, like how does it work. You enter your text, you enter the words, you enter like text 2 and then text 3, and then you click generate, and it comes up with like different variations of your writing, and it places things in different, like it mixes up the words that you've already written. They have visual poetry, and it guides you through that. They have like a text mixer where you can put in your text and then it jumbles up your things to like swap up your poem. It has like a text weaver. It has interactive text, a square poem machine. So all of these things, they just take text you've written, or you can find text that you've read possibly, and then it will manipulate it in a variety of different ways. So there's different types of writing games that way. And then they have a bunch of different haiku generators as well. So the haiku generators, they have like haiku Mad Libs, and they have Haikuatron, and then haiku turbo generator. So there's different ways to like manipulate haiku poetry, which is kind of cool. The Mad Libs one takes you add like a haiku of your own or your own words, and then they plug it into a very classic haiku poem, and then they kind of match yours with a classic one. There's just, for me, it's a great way to get kind of older kids doing vocabulary doing some vocabulary work, but creative writing, and it doesn't feel
like help loosen them up a bit. For writing,
like making it interactive and kind of fun without saying like, oh, everybody take out your markers and let's write a poem. It just I don't know, I liked that it's not super showy. It's not all kinds of stuff. Like there's just gonna be a couple ads here and there on the sides, and then they have like a poem engine, and they have like Jabberwocky gibberish generator, and that's like, so they have writing games and haiku generators and text manipulation on the left hand side, and then text generators with like wordplay and dictionary cut up, and then interactive poetry generator. These are on the right hand side, and the name generators, like creative writing tools. That's just all on the games page. Like there's so many things that you can pick and choose from.
Sure.
And then they have exercises, which you can find some of those down the center. Then if you click on the exercise button, then it goes on like the center of your screen with all the games and activities on the sides of it.
Sure.
So again, there's not a ton of graphics, and there's kind of ads in there, but there's so many options for older students. I would say like 5th grade and up, even 4th grade and up. And then it's kind of cool too, because they have the history then behind different types of writing. So you can pick like surrealism, and then if you click on that, it talks about like how it's applied to creative writing, and it gives you some background and some history and just some interesting tidbits of information. So if you are starting a creative unit and you're just looking to engage some older kids, and also in general, just if you want to mix up whatever lesson you're doing, you can incorporate creative writing into any content area, using specific content vocabulary, or give them a little brain break and just let them create. They have a whole rhyming dictionary. They have Twitter poetry. There's just, again, there's so many options. I could sit here.
Pentameter. I haven't said that phrase, probably since school, back in at least college. It's very cool.
Yeah.
So, fun little tidbit. Just an anecdote. At work, every so often we do kind of fun contests and things. And have you ever heard the phrase, "The quick brown fox jumps over the lazy dog"?
Yes.
And what's significant? Do you know what's significant about that?
No, I don't remember.
Is that sentence uses all 26 letters in the alphabet in one sentence. So when you're looking at fonts, usually it will have that sentence because you can see all of the letters at once. So we have a contest going on at the office to whoever can come up with a phrase
that uses all the letters of the alphabet.
To describe our company.
Nice.
They'll win $100.
Wow.
Yeah,
Have you thought of one yet?
I have not.
But working on it.
Typically, as one of the partners, I tend to stay out of the contest because I don't want to feel like.
But I feel like that would be one that you would want to enter.
Yes, but I'd prefer like one of the younger employees wins or something. So
then they can have that title and be that cool person.
Yeah.
Nice.
So.
Well, that's fun.
But yeah, I just that website reminded me of this.
Hey, maybe you could put in the letters and see what it cranks out for you.
True. Actually, there was one person who had put it into a what's the anagram generator that helped sort out the words. Yeah, so it's pretty cool.
That's fun.
Yeah. So hopefully we'll have some cool ideas. I'm sure for $100 that we'll get a good number from our.
And if any of you have any ideas, feel free.
Yeah, yes.
Jump in on that.
Please help us win $100. Yep.
So languagesofvirus.com has so many different cool creative writing resources and activities, and but also technique and just practice using various types of language. I think it's kind of cool, and I
think a good writing experiment
too
for kids would be to come up with a different name than language as a virus.
Well,
give them
it's been around for a while,
exercise.
so I'm guessing that.
Oh yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, I'm sure it is a fun kind of name, even given the fact that there's a global pandemic now. Right. But it's still fun,
yeah.
Maybe it's even better now.
Yeah, it's gonna be people remember it more.
Oh yeah, that's kind of clever.
So
cool.
Our second website.
Yes.
On creative writing, it's called blackoutpoetry.glitch.me.
All right.
So on that note, so this is a blackout poetry maker.
Yeah.
And are you familiar with blackout poetry?
No, but it looks kind of like a.
It's so cool.
Have you ever heard of the Frankenstein veto? No.
No.
Where a bill gets passed to a governor, and then the governor vetoes only select words out of the or letters out of the bill in order to make it say something completely different.
Nice.
And I assume
that would be exactly what this is.
Yeah.
Except for it's poetry, but yes. So what you do is, this one is pretty straightforward for everyone who's familiar with blackout poetry, where you have your piece of text and you can choose your own text, or you can copy and paste a chunk of text into their in their little custom text box on the left hand side. And you enter your text in. And what's kind of cool is they give you little extras. So you can choose your font. They have a few choices. You can choose your letter size. And then once you hit enter, it shows up in the bigger screen on the right. And then you have it. You just click on the words you want to keep. And you can do it at random, or you can be very specific to create the poem that you want. And then you click the magic blackout button, and then just the words that you want to stay for your poem remain in the text. And there you have it, your blackout poem. You can choose it if you want it in square or if you want it full text. And you can render the square or render the full text, and then you have it there. If you want to take a screenshot of it, you can. And you are able to then have your snazzy little piece of blackout poetry, folks. It is that simple. It is, again, a very straightforward and easy to use. It's kind of like the goal of the day. There's not a lot of jazz with the sites we're talking about, but they are really cool for creative writing. So they give you a couple sample texts too to play around with, so like the Alice in Wonderland, Pride and Prejudice, Heart of Darkness. Like they're there to play around with. But if you just put your own text into the left hand side, and then click on what you want. I was pulled up just a little bit of a summary of Harry Potter, and then I blacked it out, and because they said like magic in school, it's kind of fun. And then the poem had nothing to do with Harry Potter, but was using Harry Potter text.
And it looks like you can only black out words and not like letters, right? Correct.
This one's just words.
Yeah. So you don't have to worry too much about kids getting too, out of bounds with it.
Well, and usually like with blackout poetry, you give them kind of the setup of it and the background of how it works and stuff. But yes, it'll be full words, and then you just black it out, and then it's all set and ready to go. So it's really, what I like is this could be a great warm up for a poetry unit without being overwhelming. And I think it looks cool.
People, it does look cool, and getting kids to, or people in general, to look at things differently and like get their mind thinking.
To me, it makes you think. Like
you're removing words instead of adding words, and
and it's a cool way of like, here's a chunk of text, and you're just pulling words out.
Just helping know how
physically write it and stuff.
Specific words can change a sentence into a completely different
meanings. I've had some kids in the past create really cool blackout poetry where we haven't done it digitally, where they physically like Sharpie it all out and it makes the room smell. But I saw this when I was running through things again when I was supporting my staff. I was like, that is super cool, and it's really fast.
Sure.
And the kids can play around with it a lot or a little depending on how much time you have in the day, and it's kind of cool.
That's pretty neat. So what's the website again?
So that one is blackoutpoetry.glitch.me.
All right. Rolls right off the tongue.
It's really easy to remember. Well, the blackout poetry part is fine. Just the .glitch.me. I'm kind of... You got it. You'll remember it.
There's a link on smartandwi.com.
There sure is.
Go to this episode's link, or go to the EdTech Directory, where you can find
everything.
Every piece of technology we've talked about.
Do you know how many are there now? Have you checked lately?
I have not checked, but
I know we're well over 100.
Actually, I can probably tell you. I can probably pull that up while we're talking about this. Let's go
How
to...
fast is our internet working this evening?
Internet's fast. My fingers are what's perhaps not as fast. Let's see, smartandwi.com. Let me go to our tech tools link. There are 244 if you include these two.
Cool. 244. Check them all out.
244 pieces
Share them
of
with
tools
others
that you can use in your classroom.
There you go.
I'm your host, Shanna Martin.
And on that note, thanks for
After
tuning
78
in.
episodes, kind of start to remember a little bit.
Thanks for tuning in. This has been the Tech Tools for Teachers podcast. If you ever have any questions, you can find me on Twitter at smartandwi. And if you want to get more information on the links to the technology the technology discussed in this episode, you can visit smartandwi.com. New episodes each week. Thanks for listening. Go educate and innovate.
The ideas and opinions expressed in this podcast and the Smart and WI website are those of the author, Shanna Martin, and not of her employer. Prior to using any of the technologies discussed on this podcast, please consult with your employer regulations. This podcast offers no guarantee that these tools will work for you as we've described, but we hope they do, and we'll talk to you next week on the Tech Tools for Teachers podcast.